Hi friends, thanks for joining me today. We're going to be using a couple of different effects to create a really cool piece of abstract art. And I had painted this one up and I was really quite happy with it. So I thought I would share the whole process with you, and each of you can create your own really cool piece of artwork. So I'll go over the materials list real quick. It's pretty basic. I do have my watercolor paper, and for this particular project I'm using a Canson 140-pound cold press watercolor paper, and it's a little bit smoother of a texture than the typical watercolor paper that I use. And then I do have my watercolor paint, some water to clean my brush off, my little mixing tray here, and this is really just a little square plate out of my cupboard. And then my number 8 round brush. And then for creating the doodles on this, I'm going to be using, well, I have an 05 and an 03 nib micron permanent marker in black, and then of course my white jelly pen. So I'm going to set those aside for now. And I will set this aside, get out my piece of watercolor paper and my brush. And so when I was creating this, I was using a lot of nice earth tones and greens and, like the ochre, yellow ochre, and some earthy blues. And the effect that I really want is for the different colored ovals to blend in with each other. And I kind of had created a really nice chain effect with all of this. So to get started, I'm going to just kind of put some different colors onto my little mixing tray here. And I'm just using a lot of water and grabbing some paint and putting them on here because I'll want to mix them up a little bit, grab a little bit of this or that and kind of mix them all together on my little tray. And I'll grab some of my turquoise green. That's such a gorgeous, vibrant color. Let me kind of clean that off a little bit, and I'll grab some of my turquoise blue, which is a little bit lighter and brighter. And then I'm also going to grab some of my ultramarine, which this is a little bit darker. So we have plenty of blues here, and then we have the yellow ochre. And I do want to put just a little bit more of that on there. And I will be kind of blending that in with some of the other colors to make it look really nice. So as I go through this, I'll kind of share my thought process with you. So to begin, I want to make sure that I have an awful lot of paint or an awful lot of water on my brush. And I think I'll just start with some of the yellow ochre, and I do want to do just a oval. And you can see that there's a lot of water on my brush and not a lot of paint, and I'm kind of dabbing in a little bit of the yellow ochre. And we do want this to stay nice and wet, so that when we go to the next color, which I'm going to grab some of my, this is an olive green. And then I want to put this oval right here. And I want to kind of keep it a nice round shape. And we do want to dab in certain areas, a little bit of color, just so that as it dries, the depth of the colors varies quite a bit. And so over here I want to put just a little bit more in. And you can see how nicely they are blending together. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of one of my blues and kind of mix it in with the green. And I think here I'll do just a little smaller of a circle, and you can see how they're blending, and that's the exact effect that I do want, going from one circle or oval to the next. And I want to keep the sphere or rounded corners, ovals, circles I want to keep that same look going throughout. And I'm just going to zigzag back and forth across my paper. And so this is just one of my blues. And from there, I think I'll kind of mix up a little bit more of a blue and a green, and maybe even pull in a little bit of the yellow. I'm just kind of putting all different colors together and creating different colors and different tones. And so now I'm going to actually clean my brush off a little bit and grab some more of the yellow. I want to get some of the lighter in here. And you can see just how quick and easy this is. And this is the fun part. And then actually once we get going, or once we get through with all of this, we will want to let this dry very well before we proceed with the next step. So on this one I have a lot of water and very little color. I want it to be very, very light. And with that being said, I'll do another very light one. And this is really just kind of throwing the paint down on the paper and having fun with it. And on some of these, we leave a little white spot. On others, we want to make sure that the entire oval or circle or shape that you use is totally colored in. And now you could also, you know, if you wanted to go with more square shapes or rectangle, that would be really cool as well. And, you know, just kind of create your own color palette. Make it your own. The whole process of this is, you know, just letting the colors blend, and you can see how nicely they are all blending together. So no circle is just one solid color. It becomes a couple of different colors, and very, very cool. And then with this, I want to tap in just a little bit more of the darker. And on any of these, you know, as long as they're still wet, and you want to tap in a little bit of a different color, go for it, you know. And once it dries, you'll see just how cool we can create some of the doodles and abstracts with the shapes of the different tones within the circles, ovals, not circles. Okay, so I want to grab some more of my, my yellow ochre and create one here. And you can see how that spreads out really cool. I love it. As soon as it touches those darker colors. And then I think I'll grab just a little bit of a, this is the ultramarine blue that I'm kind of mixing in a little bit with the turquoise green. Okay, and then I want to drop in just a little bit of a darker, which I didn't do it much on any of those other ones. So this is kind of like the last one. I make sure that it's nice and dark like that. Now, I think what I want to try is just grabbing a little bit of white and kind of dabbing it in right there on the green before that totally dries, just to see what that does. I think it's going to spread out quite nicely. And I'll do it there and up there. Not too much. Had I gone back and tapped in a little bit of the white on some of these other ones while they were still wet, it would have been a much better effect. But you can see how that's kind of branching out. And this is going to be very nice and dark down here, which that's going to be really cool once we start adding, you know, some of the lines and dots and dashes and squiggles and everything to that. So at this point, this looks really good, and see how quick and easy that was. And it is a lot of fun to kind of watch the colors all blend together, you know, as they touch. And then as they dry, they're going to look even a little bit more different. And as we all know, as watercolors dry, they do have a tendency to get a little bit lighter. And so that's where the black markers are really going to look awesome against it. We do have to let this dry for a few minutes because we want it to be absolutely totally dry before we move on to the next step. So we'll give this a couple of minutes and then we'll continue on. Okay, so I do think that this is now dry enough and we get to start with our markers and gel pen and have a little bit of fun and get creative. And so as I mentioned before, if you wanted to use, more of a square or rectangle shape or a different color palette, use your own imagination, just have a good time with it. This is more about getting creative and just kind of letting your mind, get loose and have some fun. And you can see now that this is nice and dry just how the colors kind of blended into each other in some of these areas, where I had touched it with some additional paint to make it a little bit heavier. There's contrast in the, excuse me, in the depth of the colors. So I am going to start, I believe, with my 03 pen. And there again, you can use any size of a marker that you feel comfortable with or something that you really like and enjoy. And so on some of these, for instance, and I just want to take a quick peek here. Like on this one, what I'm going to do is take my marker and just kind of highlight, the edge of where the color difference was happening there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And really, I'm just kind of squiggling around because it's not a solid line as it is. So I'm going to leave those two like that for now, and then just kind of have, fun with some of these other ones. And so one thing that I do like to do is, let's see, I'm going to grab, I think this one. And so I'm going to very loosely just follow the outside of this around. And then I'm going to keep going and making sure that it's, I kind of want to add several layers of a pen mark around there. And I'm going to do that on a couple of these. I'm not sure how to explain that, I guess. So I want to do it on that one, and I think I'll do it again on this blue one. No, not that blue one. Yeah, I think I will do it here. And if you have some favorite little doodles that you like, use those, fill it in, and just, have a lot of fun with that. And so those two, I won't be putting anything into the middle of those. And then on this one, for instance, I'm gonna, just on the white part, put some lines across there. And I think on this one, I want to, I'm gonna grab a little bit finer of a marker if I can have one handy here. Okay, I do have an 02 nib. This is a little bit finer. So on here, I just kind of want to do some ovals or circles, and I'm going to go a couple times around. Okay. Just to make it look a little more carefree or loosely drawn. And I'm just kind of following the contour of the oval itself. And the cool thing about this is because there is this, the yellow ochre that kind of blended into that, that's going to show through on the background of it and make it look really cool. And see, that's what happens when you start putting all of the little doodles and different things in each one of the circles. With the contrast of the colors, it does really give it a whole new depth and a new perspective for sure. And let's see, I think well, I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm just really itching to do it, is get my my white gel pen out, and in this particular one, just over on this side, I'm going to put in some dots. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you know I absolutely love my my dots. And this pen doesn't seem to be working very well, so I do have a backup, thank goodness. So we'll give this one a try. Oh, that's much better. And you can see I'm not doing the entire thing. I do want to leave the look of that. That's where I dabbed in just a little bit of the white paint, and it really left some really cool markings on that. So I'm gonna maybe just go around the edge of that a little bit, but I do want to leave that look there. And then down here where it's nice and dark, I'm gonna just kind of put some dashes in here if I can get my pen to work. They are kind of light. All right, and I think I'll leave those like that and put that away. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Micron again, and let's see, now what do I want to work on? I think up here what I'll do is just kind of put in line and then dot and line, and I'm going to go through and do this, and it's just staggered dots and lines, which of course leave yet another cool texture. There's just so many options and ideas and things that you can do to make this your own and have fun with it. Here, I better go a little bit further on that. And then, as I mentioned, these two I'll leave as they are. I'm not going to put anything in those. The doodle for that is basically just the squiggle marks around the outside of it. And so on this one, I am going to go through and put some dashes, and then just a little bit of a texture with some cross hatches here. All right, just about like that. And let me just make sure I have this all in the screen here. Please bear with me. I do all my videos on my cell phone, so I do have to get up from time to time and check it just to make sure that everything is still in the screen. So I think on this one here, this really cool, that's kind of like the turquoise blue or cerulean blue. I'm not sure which one was there now. So I'm going to leave that as it is, but I'm going to go around the edge of this and kind of leave that. And very squiggly and loosely, I'm just kind of, you know, following the edge of that circle or what. There. See, that looks really cool. So there's so many cool things that we can do. It's just, it's never ending. I think up here, I'm going to put in, what should we do with this one? Let's do something really different. Turn this sideways. And I want to put in some zigzag. Is that what we want to call this? And kind of leave more space and less space, and kind of, you know, give it a little bit of a uneven texture type of thing. I don't know how to say it or what I'm trying to say. Okay, so there's that one is pretty well complete. And I think for this one, I'm going to leave that, but I do want to fill this in. And with this, I'm just going to do my traditional dots. Kind of follow the curve of the oval. Well, we want to make sure that these are colored in. Sometimes I do like to leave the centers of the dots open, but not in this case. And you can see out of habit, I kind of do that. Not that it's wrong, because there's no wrong or right with any of this. Okay, and let's see, what else could we do here? I kind of liked doing that. I want to do that again. I think I will actually do that on this one. And, you know, as you're doing this, you kind of come up with your own ideas, and you can leave some of them solid and not do anything, or if you want to fill in all of them. Another cool thing to do, which I don't have a sample of it here, but it's to do all kinds of stuff in the white background of it, and then just leave the circles with the blending of the different colors. Just leave those solid. That's another really great idea. I've done it before, I just don't have one handy to show you. And so I think I actually think I want to do just a little bit more. Into this one, I guess. And so with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle and just kind of go like this, almost like a spring. And I do the little swirlies, like a slinky. Remember slinkies as a kid? And so, hold on, let me get that done. And so see how cool that is with all of the different shades in the background? It really makes it look awesome along with that one. And so that's the cool thing about letting all of the colors really you know, just blend together, and then putting in all of the textures and the doodles on top. It adds so much and just gives it a really unique look. And then to put this in a frame, you know, if it were to go in a black frame, that'd be really awesome. So I think that's about all I'm going to do on this one. I do want to leave a few of these solid without anything, and then other than the little lines on the white space there. And so I think that's all I want to put on this one and call it a day with this. And so if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, if you could go ahead and do that, I would really appreciate it. It does help my channel grow, and I appreciate all of my followers and subscribers. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I do like to get back to everyone that, you know, and respond to everyone that leaves a little something for me down there. And so until next time, ciao for now.